My, oh my, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. We got so much to get into today. Brandon Graham went on the Up and Adams show. I feel like I've been talking about Kay Adams a lot on the program. Didn't like the interview so much with Howie Roseman. Love the interview that she did with Justin Simmons. That was great. And I thought going into yesterday's show, or should be coming into yesterday's show, leaving yesterday's show, I was like, looked at my notes and I forgot to give you my takes on Hot Ones with Saquon Barkley. That was fantastic. I absolutely loved that episode of it. We'll get to that today. But I later see that Brandon Graham goes on the Kay Adams program on FanDuel TV and says that he is 90% retired. Credit to her for kind of sniffing out the situation, but I believe I have cracked the code on what 90% retired means. And I'll tell you this. It doesn't mean that there's a 10% chance Brandon Graham is all of a sudden there in training camp ready to go for the season. That's not what it means. And there's another example of this not too far back in Philadelphia Eagles history where we went, oh, that guy's not done? Oh, he's coming back. And I'll give you the name of that person and why that might be Brandon Graham in the upcoming season. I'll just start at this. I hope it's not, for the record. I'd love to see Brandon Graham back. But the thing that would make him come back is an unfortunate thing. We'll talk about that in a second. The Phillies, what an absolute wild one in Atlanta. Now, let me just start out with this. There were 363 pitches in the game. 363 pitches. The Phillies themselves saw 198 pitches from the Braves in this game. I lost count at one point, but the Phillies themselves have got into last night 14 three-ball counts. This was a 9-inning game, and it was a 9-inning game that lasted over 3 hours in the pitch clock era. I didn't think that was allowed anymore, but here we are. It was a wild game in that regard. Couple of takeaways. Number one, they won. Hey, that's good. Number two, Taijuan Walker has now started out this season with 10 2/3 scoreless innings pitched. Didn't see that one coming, but way to go, Taijuan. Only lasted 4 2/3 last night. Excuse me. Only lasted 4 2/3 last night. But both pitchers, actually, him and Grant Holmes, struggled to put batters away, continuously getting into those full counts. But Taijuan Walker, when he needed punch-out pitches, when he needed to get out of jams, two in particular that we'll get into on the show, he got out of them. I can't get over the idea of the Phillies seeing nearly 200 pitches in a ballgame. That's insane. Bryce Harper's power returns. Trey Turner gets the game-winning hit in the ninth inning, game-winning home run. Love to see that for Trey Turner. And Jose Alvarado gets a 4-out win. Not a 4-out save, a 4-out win. It was a long one, and it felt like it dragged on time and time again. A lot of runners left in scoring position on both sides. But all in all, Phillies are the ones that come out on top. And now they have a chance to win the series and continue to win series as the season goes on. So we'll get to that. Also, Alec Boehm, 0 for 5 last night with 4 strikeouts. And one more thing will follow when it comes to Boehm and actually Trey Turner. Because Trey Turner made adjustments as the game went on. Alec Boehm, not so much. Alec Boehm and Trey Turner in the first inning were swinging at junk. The chase rate, I put it out there on social media, the chase rate might have, their ranking and chase rate went from number 1 to just plummeting in that first inning alone because that's how much junk they were chasing from Grant Holmes. But as the game went on, Trey Turner was making adjustments, correcting mistakes, all that. Alec Boehm, not so much. So we'll get into that. Also, Sixers win last night. They pretty much got they do have the 5th worst record in the NBA locked up at this point. Huge game for Jeff Dalton Jr. Big game again from Mbona. We'll get to that. And the Flyers in an absolutely ridiculous game at Madison Square Garden. 8-6, 8-5 final score for the Flyers. They've snapped a 6-game road losing streak. We almost have too much program today. But let me start with Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham is not coming back. 90% retired. So what does the 10% mean for Brandon Graham? I always found this story to be so interesting. Do you remember Jeremiah Trotter's last year with the Eagles? His last year with the Eagles came in 2009. Previous to that, his last year with the Eagles was 2007. Now, 2006. Then 2007, he plays a little bit with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I totally forgot about. But it started the wheels in motion yesterday when I heard Brandon Graham say 90% retired. So Brandon Graham is going to come back in one instance. Everybody gets hurt. That's the only instance I see Brandon Graham coming back. Because Jeremiah Trotter Sr. plays for the Eagles in 2006. Plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2007, a couple of games. Then in 2009, the Eagles had a slew of injuries at the linebacker position. Jeremiah Trotter texted Andy Reid, and he said, I'm still in great shape. And sure enough, they brought back Jeremiah Trotter to play the rest of that season in 2009. Now, that season ended with the Eagles losing back-to-back games, I want to say it was, in Dallas, the last game of the season, and then in the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was banjo game for Donovan McNabb running out of the, not tunnel, but the bar at the newly anointed AT&T Stadium, Cowboy Stadium. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. came back and played for the Eagles in that season. Now, I would guess that before that season, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. would have said, I'm about 90% retired. So the only chance I see of Brandon Graham coming back and playing next year is if all of a sudden the Eagles are having a lot of problems on that defensive line, a lot of injuries, edge rushers are going down, and obviously I'm not wishing this into existence, but to explain the 10% of Brandon Graham that is not retired, I think he has it in the back of his head that, Vic Fangio might call me, or things might go down where they're not getting home on the edge, or they need my talents. That's the only time I see Brandon Graham coming back and playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. If not, I think it was Irving Fryer that had this big retirement ceremony with the Eagles. I think the Eagles gave him a motorcycle. And then the next thing you know, I think he's playing for Washington. What was that? Don't do that. I hate when guys retire. Big speech, tears, all that, and then they come back. Brett Favre comes to mind in all that. But the only way I see that Brandon Graham comes back to play for the Eagles is a middle of the season thing. They're struggling in the edge rush game, which, hey, that might happen. But again, 10% is still a might. Very small might, but still might. That's the only way I see BG coming back. And he could reference Jeremiah Trotter in 2009 coming back with the Eagles. All that with a text message. Now, while I'm talking about the Eagles, I'm talking about things that they did before the season started and all that stuff. Little nuggets that lead to big things happening. So Trotter coming back that year was big. That was big for the Eagles. Quite frankly, they need him. And he helped them make the playoffs that year. But it goes right along the same lines as this talk that Vic Fangio was doing recently. And I got to credit my man, Jeff Skversky, because I haven't seen this anywhere else, but Jeff has it on his YouTube. It looks like Vic Fangio is a guest speaker at, I don't know, either some country club or, cigar bar. I don't know. But Mike Quick's there smoking a cigar and having a glass of scotch or bourbon. I don't know. I'm quite jealous. And he sets up Vic Fangio for talking about Zach Bond and the incredible season Zach Bond has just had. Now, it's been covered and talked about a lot when it comes to this conversation that was had between Howie Roseman and Vic Fangio, where Howie says to Vic Fangio, hey, I think we have this outside linebacker, special teams guy that I really want you to take a look at. You let me know. And Vic Fangio looks at the tape and says to Howie Roseman, I think we got our inside linebacker. And Howie's like, okay. So that's been talked about a lot. But what wasn't talked about was what exactly Vic Fangio saw on that tape. And he said he watched a couple of the games where he was actually playing outside linebacker. And what made the bells go off in Vic Fangio's head that this guy was going to be playing on the inside was that he just saw the way Zach Bond would respond to motion of a tight end. And he said the way he's motioning, or the way he's responding to that motion, either dropping back in coverage, getting closer to the line of scrimmage, just the way he was doing it made Vic Fangio go, oh, that guy's an inside linebacker. He goes, 35 years watching football, this is what you do. You recognize a tendency and you see what it looks like, and you go, I bet you this guy can play on the inside. Now, here's the thing. there wasn't like 20 pieces of film of Zach Bond doing that. Barely played defensively, mostly on special teams when he was with the New Orleans Saints. 4 years of that. So there's limited film of watching Zach Bond be able to respond to a linebacker, or excuse me, a tight end going in motion. And Vic Fangio saw the way he did it and goes, yeah, that kind of looks more like a linebacker, or an inside linebacker. That kind of looks more like an inside linebacker. So they get Zach Bond to Philadelphia. He has Zach Bond playing on the inside, and Zach Bond says to him in training camp, hey, so when am I going to go to the outside? And Vic Fangio goes, in time. We'll get there. We'll get there. That's what he tells him. We'll get there. And then he never gets there because he's excelling on the inside so much in the way that he's playing in Vic Fangio's defense. That's what you talk about when you talk about an eye test. That's what you talk about when you talk about getting a guy in here with 35 years of experience that knows how to recognize talent on the defensive side of the football and knows how to put a player in the very famous best possible position to have success. And if you're doing that with enough players, then guess what? The team is going to have success. So hearing that kind of detail from Vic Fangio as to what he saw in Zach Bond specifically, not just, oh, yeah, I looked at the tape and he was an inside guy, but specifically looked at 5 to 6 plays where he watched Zach Bond shift with the tight end or without him. And you go, oh, that's an inside linebacker. Brilliant. Absolutely love that. Highly recommend checking it out. Again, Jeff Skaversky has that on his YouTube channel if you want to see the whole thing. It's pretty great. Again, it looked like a place I want to be, though. I don't know where it was, but I want to be there. They had a little podium set up for Vic. Again, Mike Quick's over there smoking a cigar, having himself a good time. Where was my invite? Don't know. And then while I'm talking about the Eagles, Saquon Barkley on Hot Ones was one of my favorite episodes I've ever watched of Hot Ones. And Hot Ones is great. Just to see those guys uncomfortable. When I was at WIP, at the time I was working with Josh Innes in the afternoon, our producer, Adam Regner, brilliant guy. I don't know if Hot Ones was even out yet, if he was inspired by this, but he had Josh and I both take a bite of a ghost pepper and then answer like the most mundane Philadelphia Eagles trivia questions. And that was excruciating. I imagine that's what it was like for Saquon when he got to wings 8, 9, and 10, I think is how it goes. He did not look comfortable. He did not look comfortable in the least bit. So I'm watching him do this yesterday. It was Sean Evans, I think, is the guy that hosted. First off, he does a great job. But I'm watching Saquon. And a couple of things that he said that really stuck out to me was, I think we talked about it because they released the teaser video first. And the teaser video, Saquon Barkley says that his favorite play of the season was a 75-yard run in the snow in the playoffs against the Rams. He said that was the best part. I said, okay, I would expect the no-look leap, but that's what he went with. So yesterday I'm watching him, and the thing that really amazed me was that he's always been known. Like, his dad was a boxer. He raised him to be a pretty tough kid. Obviously, that worked. High school was a tough kid. College, obviously, a really tough kid. Gets to the pros, and he talked about a welcome to the NFL moment with Julius Peppers. And he runs to the outside. Julius Peppers there to meet him. You know, they blow the whistle dead. He's holding on to Saquon, so he's not letting Saquon go. And Saquon goes, "Oh, he's trying me. I gotta let him know that, you know, I'm not just some kid, some rookie in the NFL. I'm here to make an impact." So he goes to like knock Julius Peppers' arm off of him. So he, hammers his forearm through Julius Peppers' elbow, and Julius Peppers is still holding on to Saquon Barkley's shoulder pads. So Saquon does it again, and Julius Peppers unmoved. Saquon does it again. Still the same thing, not letting go. And Saquon at that moment said, this is the difference between being strong in the weight room, and this is the difference between strong in the NFL, where you're strong like a man. Like your dad's strength kicks in. Julius Peppers had that man strength about him. And that's the moment that went off in his head where Saquon went, all right, this is going to be a little bit of a different game. Also talked about this, I think, really, this is amazing. I think it shows a lot of Saquon Barkley's character. But he had a bet with his dad in high school. In high school that said his dad said he wouldn't get, I think it was 14 rushing touchdowns. So Saquon and his dad have this bet. And Saquon breaks through the line of scrimmage. He's running for a long touchdown, like 70 yards, 80 yards, whatever it was. And as he's running into the end zone, he starts finding his dad in the crowd. And he's just cheesing. He's just smiling at his dad. And he knows he's going to get $100 for his 14th touchdown. And his dad is smiling back. And Saquon's like, uh-oh, why is that? And he scores a touchdown, turns around. There was a flag on the play for holding. They call it back. And then Saquon ends up scoring later in the game and gets his 14th touchdown and gets his $100 from his dad. So then Sean Evans, great question. He says, so what'd you buy? What'd you buy? And you know what he bought? I was expecting a pair of Jordans. He put the money towards a pair of Jordans. I don't know, forget what year this would be, but it's a big CD player. I don't know, DVD player. I don't know. I don't remember. He bought his family a Chinese food dinner. Like, I'm going to go ahead and assume that one of his parents is going to be paying for dinner anyway. So his father gives him $100, and he takes his family out to dinner for Chinese food. I don't think there's too many kids that would have done that. I think they would have put it to something for themselves and only themselves. But he bought some Kung Pao chicken or something. Good for him. I think that's what he said, Kung Pao chicken. And then this was one of my favorite things. The question got asked about the NFL's growing audience and how the NFL is really the only sport. Basketball has grown. Baseball has grown a little bit, and I think evidence of that is the World Baseball Classic. And you also look at, like, baseball's huge. You know, I know it's not football, but baseball's still huge in America. It's huge, and it is the sport in Japan, obviously. It's grown globally while it has almost shrunk in the United States while still being extremely popular. But the question was asked about why the NFL just continues to grow while other major sports kind of stay in this one spot. And Saquon was kind of really taken back by the question in an interesting way, just saying that the NFL is doing everything it can to grow its product globally, while other sports just haven't taken that step. And my thought was, they've taken that step, especially basketball. But I feel like every other sport has kind of tapped it out, where football is just tapping into it on a major level. I mean, yeah, they've been playing overseas games forever, but the way they're doing it now is insane. And Saquon said he loved those opportunities, like to play in Brazil, for instance, or get an opportunity to play in Germany or England or wherever. He absolutely loves that. So the NFL is tapping into that tenfold, whereas the NBA, for instance, really tapped into that in the early 90s with the Dream Team, which essentially was the biggest advertisement, billboard, commercial, whatever, for basketball. And that's why, and I was talking to a friend of mine who I am so happy for. He's actually going to be producing NBA on NBC next season. And he was having a conversation with Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade talked about how much that 92 team introduced basketball to the world. And then I think everyone's heard it multiple times now. The world has caught up with the United States. And my buddy made an interesting point. My buddy. He's going to be the producer. This is so funny. He's going to be the producer of NBA and NBC. And he says to Dwayne Wade, he's like, so you're saying that means you would have one extra championship ring, one more championship ring, if it wasn't for that Dream Team. He's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, without that Dream Team, there's no Dirk Nowitzki, right? And you don't lose to him in the finals when you're with the Heat. And he's like, damn that Dream Team. So it's the greatest advertising, the greatest billboard that there ever was for a sport, that 92 Dream Team. But that's when the NBA grew. Right now is the time, really over the last five years, is where the NFL has really started to grow globally. So I think the ceiling was a lot higher for the NBA, more so, or excuse me, for the NFL over the last 5 years, decade. The ceiling was a lot higher for the NFL as compared to baseball, basketball, and hockey is a global game as well. So they've been tapped into that for quite some time. But really enjoyed it. Also, after his career, wants to get into the media. He gave the media a B+ in coverage, said there's too many sellouts, too much clickbait that's out there where people aren't really focused on getting it right. And he hopes to have a different approach when his time comes to join the media. So I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worth, I think it's a 25-minute interview while eating some hot wings. And they do look tasty. They do look tasty. I will say that. So, yeah, that was Saquon yesterday. Baseball. Oh, no, one more thing. I was on with Dan Sileo yesterday, and he asked me a question about Zach Bond. Back to Zach Bond here. The question was, how do I know Zach Bond isn't the upcoming season's James Bradberry? Okay. James Bradberry, if you remember when he came over here from the Giants, I think this is what spurred the question. I said, you had moments with the Giants before. James Bradberry came here and played great after leaving the Giants. Saquon Barkley is obviously the next universe down in terms of elevating play when you leave the Giants. Can Azeez Ojulari be that same type of guy? Can Adoree Jackson be that same type of guy? Now, Ojulari, obviously a younger player, still has his best years in front of him. Adoree Jackson might have his best years behind him or might be right in that kind of plateau of his career. So we're talking about predicting the next season. And he asked me, why do I think that Zach Bond won't be the next James Bradberry in terms of one great year with the Eagles, signs a new deal, and then all of a sudden he's mediocre at best. And the reason I gave was because Zach Bond was a discovery of Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio knew how to use him and keep him in that position. And Vic Fangio has been around long enough, certainly longer than Jonathan Gannon. When he finds out how to tap into the talents of a player, he makes sure he can keep him at that level. And the other idea is that Zach Bond was in another system where he wasn't even utilized at all in the way that the Eagles used him last year. And once he started playing that, it would be like if James Bradberry came here as a nickel corner and Vic Fangio said, oh, no, this guy's a free safety, or this guy, this guy's a safety. And then all of a sudden, James Bradberry took off to another level. It wasn't like a one-year flash in the pan, same position, same responsibilities, and he just stayed the same as he did with the Giants. No, he took a major step forward. I look at it like this with Zach Bond. He's never been asked to do what the Eagles asked him to do last year, and he excelled in those roles. So the reason I don't think he's going to be a one-year wonder, and all of a sudden we're regretting a huge contract for a linebacker, and what we've been waiting for all these years for the Eagles to sign a playmaking linebacker, well, they signed one at a bargain rate, and then they rewarded him to keep him around. The other thing we got into was retooling, and I beg people to just keep this in mind. We've begged the Eagles to change mindset when it comes to, or philosophy, when it comes to signing a running back. Well, now they have signed a running back. Oh, boy, have they signed a running back in Saquon Barkley. Now they're paying a running back like Saquon Barkley. Matter of fact, Saquon Barkley himself. We've wanted them to sign a linebacker and pay a linebacker and keep him around. They've done that with Zach Bond. We're used to the Eagles finding a way to have a multitude of running backs that can go out there and play. The perfect example of that is the year after Miles Sanders 2 years ago. DeAndre Swift is your lead back, but you still have, a number of guys that are running out of that backfield doing you favors for under the amount of money, 3-4 guys that you have in that running back room that are still cheaper than one Miles Sanders. We're used to bargain deals like that. We're used to, three-headed monsters and whatnot. No, that's not the case. Now it's Saquon. I make that point because we got to get used to the Eagles potentially not spending money in areas where we're used to them spending money, at least for this year. Now, I have it out there. Like, you can be looking at Justin Simmons. He had a $7.5 million deal with the Falcons last year. You can be looking at around the same right now with the Eagles. Eagles, last I looked, are about $21 million, $23 million under the cap still. So they can afford Justin Simmons. Another 1-year deal, maybe a 2-year deal, a lot of incentives, whatever it might be. They have room for one more of those signings. That's, again, why I think Justin Simmons is going to be here. But at those other spots. Big money for Darius Slay on the outside. That's going to be waiting for Cooper DeJean. That's going to be waiting for Quenyon Mitchell. We're not used to seeing the Eagles spend money at running back and linebacker. That's a lot of money that's tied up in those two positions. We're not used to it being tied up in. So as free agency continues, the offseason continues, we get through the drafts and all that, and we get right before training camp, and Justin Simmons signs with the Eagles. Just keep that in mind. It's a different philosophy being applied right now. So a retooling is certainly what the Eagles have gone through defensively. I don't think you could say that with losing, 5-6 starters. I don't think you could say it's anything else. But also keep in mind that it looks a lot different when you're spending money at positions that you've never spent money in before. Despite all the begging for 20-some plus years to have players at those positions, Eagles have finally done it. Oh, and you also have how about this? The $250 million deal with Jalen Hurts? That's nothing. That's already not even in the top 5, top 8 in the NFL right now. Setting the market, baby. Setting the market. All right. Now, let's get to those Phillies. The Phillies yesterday. This game was insane. A 9-inning game, 3 hours and 7 minutes. And it almost went to extra innings if it wasn't for Trey Turner's heroics and Jose Alvarado slamming that door, baby. But the thing I can't get over, and during the broadcast, I guess Ben Davis just had a psychic moment where he saw into the future. And he looked into his crystal baseball, appropriately gelled his hair, and then said there was a minor league game that had 400-plus pitches. And I want to say this was like in the 5th inning. Ben Davis said this. And I'm watching it, and as the game's going on, I'm like, is this why Ben was talking about it? Because Taijuan Walker threw 94 pitches in 4 2/3 scoreless. 4 2/3 scoreless. Grant Holmes threw 104 pitches in 4 innings. That's a lot of pitches right there. That's your starters not getting out of the 5th inning, and each are right around 100, either just over or just below. That's a lot of pitches right there. 363 pitches in a baseball game. That is a lot. And as I mentioned earlier, I lost track. I think it was in the 8th inning. Bryson Stott had a 3-2 count. Brandon Marsh goes to a 3-2 count. And the Phillies saw 14 counts that featured 3 balls. 14! Now I'm just glancing at my note. I think that was it. But that's a lot. That's just the Phillies, what they're seeing from the Braves pitching. As far as the game went, a couple of things jump out other than just pace of play and a lot of pitches. Taijuan Walker, 10 2/3 scoreless innings to start out the 2025 campaign for him. Not too shabby, Taijuan. Keep that going. Said after the game, everything you would assume. Everything feels good. Everything feels good. 2 big moments for Taijuan Walker in the game yesterday. First and second, 2 outs in the 2nd inning. He gets Kelnick, who has been a thorn in the side of Zach Wheeler yesterday, 2 days ago. Gets him to ground out to second, as you would assume. 3-2 pitch. He wins that battle. 3rd inning, bases loaded situation. Austin Riley steps to the plate. He's got 6 home runs against the Phillies in the last 2 years. 5 of them came 2 years ago where he hit over 300 and had like a 370 on base percentage against the Phils. A Philly killer, Austin Riley. Austin Riley steps to the plate. Bases loaded, 2 outs. He goes down in the count 2-0. Taijuan Walker throws a fastball, gets it over, and Austin Riley fouls out to Bryce Harper. 4th inning, he gets a 1-2-3 inning. Gives up a single to Sean Murphy, then gets De La Cruz to ground into the 5-4-3 double play. Then Kelnick flies out to right field. 5th inning, gets into a little bit of trouble there, unfortunately, has to leave the game. Jose Ruiz coming in. Now this time the bases are loaded and he faces Austin Riley. 5th inning, Austin Riley's up there, bases loaded. Austin Riley hits a little blooper over second base, shallow right field. Incoming Nick Castellanos. But right there, Johnny on the spot Stott is able to make that catch over the shoulder and retire the side. Austin Riley had 2 opportunities in this game to really blow it open for the Braves. Failed to do that, but he would come back to bite you when he got a game-tying solo home run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now, leading up to that moment, through 5 innings, Phillies, Braves, no runs, scoreless. In the 6th inning, Bryson Stott steps up to the plate. He's got a runner on third base. Stott hits a sharply hit ground ball to the left of Ozzie Albies at second base. Albies can't hold on to it. Bryson Stott gets credited for the RBI single. So Phillies go up 1-0 in that situation. The way that inning played out, Bohm struck out looking at a sweeper. Oh, shocker. Max Kepler gets up there as I think one of his 2 hits on the night. They bring in Johnson out of the bullpen. Castellanos just misses a home run to deep center field. Real Muto gets a single. Fastball up the middle, just tattooed that one. And then Bryson Stott comes up with the RBI single. I think that scored Max Kepler from second, actually. So great to see that for them. Phillies are up 1-0. Then in the bottom of the 6th inning, unfortunately, they give it right back. The bullpen continues to struggle. Jose Ruiz started out that inning by walking Sean Murphy. 3-2 count, missed on the 4th pitch of the at-bat. Excuse me. 6th pitch of the at-bat. De La Cruz goes up there, grounds out to third base. Alec Bohm bobbled it a little bit, was unable to get the lead runner in that situation. Kelenic works a walk. He was down 0-2, was able to fight back. Now you got first and second with 1 out. Arcia steps up there, gets the RBI single that went through Alec Bohm and then Trey Turner and dribbled into shallow left field. So now it's a 1-1 game, and then Harris steps up and gets the sac fly RBI to deep right field. Ozzie Albies steps up, grounds out to third to end the inning, but damage was done. Phillies were trailing 2-1. Now, what did I tell you before this series? Bryce Harper's going to have some power for you in this series. Bryce Harper got a 2-2 fastball in the top of the 7th inning that for the majority of this season, he has fouled away or he has swung and missed. And when he's fouled it away, they've gone straight back. So the timing is there. He's just missing. Bryce Harper gets a 2-2 fastball after Trey Turner hit a single before him, so he got a man on, and he belts a 400-foot home run to right center field to give the Phillies a 3-2 lead. He did not miss it. And when he hit it, that was an explosion off the bat. Phillies are up 3-2. I mentioned Austin Riley had plenty of opportunities to hurt the Phillies. Well, he didn't miss this opportunity against Joe Ross in the 7th inning. Got a 2-0 sinker. 417 feet down the left field line. We got a tie ball game 3-3. Nothing doing in the 8th inning for the Phillies or the Braves. There was one instance there that I thought was a big turning point for the Phillies where I thought they were really going to win this game. And Joe Ross is pitching. De La Cruz leads off with a single. That was the one that was at the bottom of the wall in right field that was just over Nick Castellanos' head. But Castellanos is there, makes a perfect play on it, gets it in, holds him to a single instead of a double. Kelenic tries to lay down a bunt, a sacrifice bunt to get De La Cruz into second base with 1 out. Bryce Harper, who I don't know how this happened, but has already, like in the instant he took over first base, was not only better than Rhys Hoskins defensively, but became the Phillies' best defensive first baseman since names we've mentioned in the past, Rico Brogna, Travis Lee. Like, you got to go back 20-plus years here to talk about a better fielding first baseman than Bryce Harper. That's how far you got to go back. Bryce Harper charges this sacrifice bunt, fires to second base, gets the lead runner at second base. So the sac bunt does not work. Then all of a sudden, Arcia steps up to the plate. He grounds to Alec Bohm at third. Bohm gets the lead runner again at second base. Then Alvarado comes in to relieve Joe Ross. He gets Harris to ground out to shortstop. 2 pitches, and it was a great pitch. Harris was busting it down the first baseline. Again, this is a tie ball game, 3-3. Turner makes the play on the ball up the middle, fires to first, bounces it a little bit, and Bryce Harper makes the perfect pick at first base, so you stay 3-3. Next inning, Trey Turner steps up, gets a first pitch slider out over the middle of the plate, and just gets enough of this ball to put it in the first row in left center field, for the Phillies to go up 4-3. Jose Alvarado comes in the bottom of the 9th inning, slams the door, Phillies win just like that. This was a long-ass game where the Phillies used the long ball to make sure that they were just in front enough to win this game. You get another scoreless outing from Taijuan Walker. You see some power from Bryce Harper, the first home run of the season for Trey Turner, and now you're in line with Jesus Luzardo on the hill today to win this game against Spencer Schwellenbach of the Atlanta Braves. All that's great stuff. All that's great. Love to see that. There was some not so great stuff yesterday, unfortunately. Brandon Marsh now 0 for his last 17. That ain't good. And Alec Boehm. If I'm Alec Boehm, you've reached a point where you're 0 for 12 with runners in scoring position in the last 12 chances. That's kind of your thing. Hit it with runners in scoring position. You can't do that. There's no way. No way you're a cleanup hitter. If I'm Alec Boehm, I'm taking a hell of a lot more pitches. Now, I referenced earlier that the Phillies' chase rate, at least their ranking and chase rate, might have plummeted after the first inning. Grant Holmes is throwing sliders in the dirt, and Trey Turner's swinging at each and every one of them. 3 of them in the same bat, consecutively, if I'm not mistaken. So, not recognizing that pitch out of Holmes' hand, homie. So Turner strikes out in that first inning. Harper actually works a walk. Boehm steps up there, swinging at the first pitch. No approach. Wants to be aggressive. But if you're going to be aggressive, you can't miss. If you're going to guess right, don't miss. I don't even think he was guessing right yesterday. He ends up swinging at a low slider, and then the one that made me just get up from my seat, watching the game, and then slam my head against the wall in frustration was Alec Boehm in the 3rd inning. You have first and second with 2 outs. You have the guy that you're supposed to want up, your cleanup hitter. Alec Boehm chases a slider so far out of the zone that even if the man they call Raffy because of his resemblance to a giraffe, even if he was as long as a giraffe, he ain't reaching that pitch. And flail doesn't even do it justice. That pitch was so far off the plate and low. That pitch never even started in the strike zone. It was like he just shut his eyes and was swinging at a piñata after he'd been spun around 3 times at a 5-year-old's birthday party. Like that ain't a big leaguer. That certainly ain't a guy that's supposed to be, batting 4th in a lineup like this. Will a change happen today? I don't know, but he goes 0 for 5 yesterday with 4 Ks, and none of it looked good. None of it looked good for Alec Boehm. So Brandon Marsh, Alec Boehm, need to see those 2 guys pick it up in the Phillies lineup. If they want to continue to win with consistency, you're going to need them to take a turn. And they didn't have it last night. So the Braves take another loss on the season. Phillies improved now 8-3 on the year. And as I mentioned, Braves now 2-9. And tonight, 7:15 start time again. Phillies and Braves get underway with Jose Luzardo on the mound. So I look forward to that. Sixers, real quick. They actually won a game last night, which was figures. I stopped doing postcast because I got to do Phillies postcast, and all of a sudden the Sixers win a basketball game. Jeff Doughton, 30-plus points. I think it came down to 17 points for Adem Bona and 9 rebounds. Another solid game by him. It was a 122-103 win over the Washington Wizards. Really not a lot of damage done as far as anything else goes, as far as their standings go. I think that's a concern at this point. Not like the Nets are going to catch them. But they win 122-103. Doughton had 30 points in the game, career high for him. You also get 17 from Adem Bona, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks. Bona plays 32 minutes. Also 5 of 7 from the free throw line, a little bit better than what we've been seeing from him, so that's good. And how about this? Doughton didn't even start last night. 30 points off the bench, while Lonnie Walker led your starters with 24 points. 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. Quentin Grimes had 17 points. Ricky Council, the 4th off the bench for 11. There you go. And how about this? With 2 games left in the season, the Phillies have the Sixers have officially shut down Tyrese Maxey. Phew. Expected to make a full recovery for next year. So there's that. As for your Flyers, this is a game I didn't pay attention to while it was happening. But as I'm watching the Phillies, I get the alert that comes up from NBC Sports Philly, and I go, oh, damn. And the alert just says, Philadelphia Flyers beat the Rangers 8-5. Tyson Forrester had a hat trick, got the empty netter from around center ice to get the hat trick for himself. You love to see that. Tyson Forrester gets the hat trick. Flyers explode for 6 goals in the third period. That was a fun one to at least go back and watch the highlights of. Who they having? Oh, it was Kolosov. It was in that last night. 5 goals allowed, 29 attempts. Trying to see. Matvei Mishkov had an assist in that one. But hey, Flyers won. Nick Seeler, 3 assists. Way to go. Happy to see that. It's not too often we can say that all 3 teams were active and won in the same night. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. And don't forget to use promo code Farzy to get $20 off your first purchase. And how about this? The Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app, that filters out all the fluff so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Oh, what time is it? Game time. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. How about Brett over at Sky Motor Cars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine, beautiful Thursday morning. It's supposed to be a little rainy a little bit later today. We'll see how that goes. Sean Kilrain, hello. Good morning, Sean. How you doing? Sean Cohen. Phillies 21-year-old outfield prospect Justin Crawford went 3 for 5 last night, slashing 325, 357 with a 425 with 425 as well in 9 games this season. Agree, Farzy? I'd love to see him. I checked his numbers last night too. I guess they didn't have it updated. I only had him at 304 last night. So I guess his big night got him up to 325. But one thing that I know it's important, on-base percentage is very important. But for me, when you're a rookie or a young player coming up through the minors, and I think the Phillies made this mistake with JP Crawford. Excuse me, another Crawford. JP Crawford was hitting 260 when he got his first promotion to the big leagues. His on-base percentage was good. It was like 340 or something, 350 or something. But like when you recognize a pitch, I want you to be able to drive it. I want you to be able to hit at the big league level, not just get on base. A runner on second base, a walk doesn't bring that runner home. 2 outs doesn't bring that runner home. Hitting is still king to me. Now, it depends greatly on where you're at in the order. If you're a top of the order guy, then obviously I want you to have a better on-base percentage. And those guys in the middle of the order, which a guy like Justin Crawford is projected to be, a top of the order guy. Justin Crawford is projected to be. So many Crawfords in my head right now. Then I want you to be able to drive the ball. JP Crawford is hitting around 260, good on-base percentage, and they brought him up. I thought that was a disservice to him. I'd love to see Justin Crawford hit around 300, 290, 310 before they bring him up to the major league level to see what he could do. I don't think they're in a rush to bring him up, but Brandon Marsh might expedite that process. If Brandon Marsh ain't playing center field, then, and if Johan Rojas is letting balls drop at his toe, then they might expedite the process of saying, well, there's no sense of keeping him down there. And if they do the thing that every baseball team does, where they're, we can't bring him up because we don't want to start the clock on him, then that'll drive me bananas. Absolutely bananas. List of coaches with 700 career win percentage and a Super Bowl ring: Vince Lombardi, Nick Sirianni. It's pretty good. April. Good morning, April. Jason A., hello. Sean Cohen. Brandon Graham says the Eagles' Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFL after beating Mahomes. Love this, Farzy. Yeah, I heard him say that in the interview as well. You got to put him up there. He beat the greatest, that kind of thing. Like, I'm going to lose my mind. I really am going to lose my mind if a list comes out in this offseason that has like Justin Herbert above Jalen Hurts. And when that happens, because I know it's going to happen, I will just respond with this. That's it. That's it. I mean, first I might respond with this. And then I'll respond with, sorry, once again, for the people on the podcast, that just hissing sound is a video of Jalen Hurts just smiling with a Super Bowl trophy and an Super Bowl MVP trophy. So there you go. And then possibly well,
that's pretty dope.
I had to do the trifecta there. Anyway, what else are you guys talking about here? Saquon is just the best, says Eric R. I concur. I absolutely love it. April, I haven't seen BG with New Heights yet. But that did look fantastic from like the little clips I saw of it, but I want to watch the whole thing. Sean Gillespie, hello. We'll never understand why people love these extreme hot wings. I've thought about it as a man who loves spice. Okay? As a man who loves spice. When my mouth is watering like and burning, I'm like, why do I like this? And I'm like, I try. The only thing I can come up with is that I just like the reaction. Like, I just really like the reaction that it stimulates. Like, it's not flavorful, but I don't know what it is. I like that. I don't know if I'm a glutton for punishment, what the deal is, but I love that spice. And if you're a spice person, and I say this with zero bias, I'm just telling you this because I truly believe this is true. There is a Italian pepper, calabrese chili peppers, basically, that I think they put red pepper flakes on pizza or something like that, like I do. These red pepper flakes, calabrese red pepper flakes, are the perfect combination, the most perfect combination I've ever had with anything in life that provides flavor with heat. Like, it's not just, oh, I like heat, so I'm going to eat this. It's flavorful. Like, it's just, it's delicious, while also bringing the heat that you like. So, recommendation for heat lovers, calabrese red pepper flakes in particular on pizza, whatever you like. I like to sprinkle a little in my soup from time to time, a little chowder, maybe, spice it up a bit. Absolutely delicious. I don't know why I like heat. My mom's dad, my grandfather loved spicy things. As a kid, I would house. We lived in Rochester, New York for a couple of years when I was a kid. The buffalo wings were always like so hot and spicy. I'd be in kindergarten, my second year of kindergarten, and I'd be just eating those things like nothing. They were delicious. Jeremy, even better coming. Thank you for that. DK, Mr. Sandman, what's going on? That is a good son. Saquon buying that dinner for his family. That is very good. Ooh, Wine Niners Wine. You're hooked on the Not Gonna Lie podcast with Kylie. Kylie's great. Kylie is so awesome. Like, she's the best. Yes, Kylie, Jason A. also has a pod. Philly Magic 365. Good morning, Mark. More flailing at balls in the dirt. I smell disappointment to unfold. Look, I'm going to hold out hope for this Phillies team, but I am not going to buy in until much later in the season. I'm not going to buy in until much later in the season. DK, Mr. Sandman, Zach Bond is a winner simply because he has a bald head. This is true. This is true. Also, I think he just has a phenomenal attitude. Shayna Moon. What's up, Shayna Moon? Good morning, everyone. Phillies, Flyers, Sixers won. Wow. What a great night to be a Phillies sport fan. And embrace. Pin 9617. Good morning. Good morning. Why Niners won 160-plus games a year. As far as he gets excited about every single one, that's pretty impressive. Like, again, this to me is Act 4 of this Phillies squad. This is Act 4, baby. So, like, to me, I'm not in game, whatever, what was yesterday? 11? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not in game 11. I'm in game 560 or something. I don't know. It's probably well off. I don't know. So that's what I'm hanging on. RMatch 420. Hello. Happy affiliate day or affiliate anniversary. Oh, there you go. Fueled by passion and double espresso. Thank you, Sir Sketchable. I had blood work done the other day because, I'm old now and they got to do blood work. And they're like, hey, you got your blood work back. And I was like, oh, boy. And they said to me, hey, you're looking great, which was shocking. I was expecting I don't mean to make light of this, but to be honest with you, I was expecting like hold on. I was expecting like, you're pre-diabetic, so you should probably stop eating like mounds of peanut butter every day. I'm like, okay, I'd probably do that. But no, the thing that made me laugh was the doctor said, continue to eat a low-carb diet and exercise 3 to 5 times a week. The exercise 3 to 5 times a week, like I'd love to do it, but I don't see it happening. The low-carb diet. Now, I want to say I don't seek out to eat pasta every day. I don't seek it out. And I'm aware that the especially a lot of the pasta you buy in the United States isn't as, it's enriched, which isn't as good, but like for you. But my kids eat a lot of pasta, which then means I feel bad that if I'm throwing away food, so then I eat the pasta. So then the doctor's like, continue your low carb diet. I'm like, do I have the wrong person's results? Like, what is happening here? No one's ever told me I have a low carb diet. But hey, the doctor said it, so there you go. Also, a doctor told me I was 6 foot once, so I'll just go with that. I'm really 5'11" and a half, but I don't care. Anyway, hi Danny, what's going on? But thank you, Sir Sketchable. Yes, your blood work came back, and it's espresso. Danny Prado, what's going on? I went to WrestleMania last year in Philly. Everything closed at 10 p.m. Why? Really? WrestleMania? Is that on a Saturday? I don't know. I don't follow WrestleMania. But I know a lot of people do, and that's your thing. Good for you. Greg Benson, what's going on? On botched fly ball the other night, you asked, was Rojas trying to make a point? When it happened, I fleetingly thought the same thing. His posture seemed to say, see what happens. Okay, you and I, all right. We're not crazy. If there's two of us, there's not crazy. That's not crazy. That's the internet rule, right? You find one other person on the internet that thinks the same way you do, you're not crazy. Greg, thank you. Did it not look like that, though? Like, this is what you want to do? You want to take a utility infielder in the outfield? All right. Jay saying, man, that pick with Hurts with the 2 trophies never gets old. Right? Jeremy, love the drops. T-Bro, you inspired me to get the drops. I finally got the drops. April, Mark, send me some of those red pepper flakes. I'm telling you, man, I had them. They had them. If you're in Philly again, Grand Cafe L'Aquila, Center City, Philadelphia is my favorite spot in the city, and I'm there as often as I can. I literally buy my espresso beans from there monthly, and the 2 guys that run the bar for the most part, Luciano and Marco, are great. They also happen to be colorblind. And they sell the red pepper flakes there. They have like a row of shelves that kind of they use as their market since pandemic, and it's fantastic. Oh, my God, so good. They also, coincidentally, sell olive oil there, Constantino olive oil. My grandmother's last name was Constantino. She was born on an olive grove in Marta Calabria, Italy. So maybe there's some relation there. Anyway, Jay Stay, love wings. How is it not? Just dropping my second year of kindergarten. I always do that. That's my thing. It's hard to not eat carbs. I love them so much, right? It's not like I try to tell myself it's okay. I'm gonna eat this bowl of pasta, but tomorrow I gotta do landscaping tomorrow, but I'm gonna eat this bowl of rigatoni. I gotta make oh man, I'm making underrated. Not okay. Spaghetti and meatballs, overrated. Spaghetti and rigatoni, well underrated. That is, I don't know what it is about that. That to me is the perfect blend of pasta and meatball. Poor Farzi hit the aids to get the scope done. I know, right? Soto was incredible last night and so far in the season. Soto. Oh, Juan Soto? I know he got off to a really good. I haven't looked at the Mets. The Mets and the Phillies have first place now, I think. What do they got? Allora. This is the first time looking at the same. Phillies up a half game on the Mets. That's where they're at. They played the Marlins last night. They lost 5-0. The Mets. You fools. Soto's hitting 279, 404 on base percentage. Only 1 home run. Are you talking about Soto? Who am I missing? Oh, the catch. Yes, he did have a bonkers catch in right field. Good for him. Mets suck. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Oh, Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies back at it tonight, 7:15, as I have mentioned many times throughout the broadcast today. Also, Islanders and Flyers drop the puck. Beam, bang, boom. Saturday at 12:30 in South Philly. That'll go down. Your 10-9-8 76ers are going to be back at it, looking for 2 in a row against the Hawks tomorrow, Friday at 7 o'clock in South Philly. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. Farzi, quick Wings update. The Wings won. How about backup goaltender Deacon not getting into the game and changes the whole outcome? Deacon's awesome. Great dude. Wings play their home finale, their last game at home Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yeah, I'll be down there for that. I think I'm going to actually watch the Phillies game from the arena while the Flyers are going on, do a postcast from the arena, and then do the PA for the Wings. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great night. I'll be here, Locked On Phillies YouTube channel, the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. Connor Thomas has you covered for your daily podcast on the Phils. I got you covered for your daily postcasts on the Phils after each and every game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys tonight on Locked On Sports Phillies.